And what's always interesting to me is like what it takes people to get off the Trump train. It's not the xenophobia. It's not the racism. It's not the bigotry. It is this.
Everyone is dissatisfied with the amount of information that's been released so far with concern to the Epstein files. Everyone thinks that there's something more going on there. But then making that leap to all of a sudden that his base is moving away from him, at least at this particular point in the polling data, we're not seeing it.
That's a political hack on CNN trying to sell another Trump's base is finally crumbling fantasy, only to get body slammed by CNN's own polling expert with numbers that say the exact opposite. They keep writing the obituary, but the movement's still breathing fire. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like the left still hasn't figured out that saying the walls are closing in for the millionth time doesn't make it true. Because once again, they're projecting their own hive mind fragility onto a movement they clearly don't understand. You know, just because they implode over minor disagreements doesn't mean conservatives do. I mean, we can disagree on Epstein or tariffs without lighting ourselves on fire. Here's Jemele Hill on CNN insisting Trump's base is finished, until Harry Enten steps in with some inconvenient truths that dismantle her whole narrative.
This is the downside of the strategy that he has imported that got him elected. His entire strategy with the Epstein files was to try to give people the strong impression that this was Bill Clinton, this was Democrats, this was something that they were trying to hide. And now that this is all turned on him, he won't be able to convince his base that this is a transparent investigation at all. Like, I don't know what it would take for them to believe that there's no cover up. I mean, you've convinced a lot of these people. Part of your whole spiel is that the government isn't to be trusted. And then you're asking these same group of people to suddenly trust that this was all on the up and up. There is no list, that everything is as it appears, and they're just not going to buy it. And what's always interesting to me is like what it takes people to get off the Trump train. It's not the xenophobia. It's not the racism. It's not the bigotry. It is this.
But are they off the Trump train? I mean, I think this is the part of what Charlotte is saying that I'm not so sure. Because I think that they really don't want to be off the Trump train. They want to be on the Trump train. They just want Trump to get in line with them on this issue.
I think that's exactly right, Abby. Look, I think for Trump, it does feel a little bit like the lady doth protest a little too much, right? But when it comes to his approval rating with Republicans, it's basically as solid as it ever was. You know, you put it up on the graphic before where you saw the smallest decline was among Republicans. If you look at the average of polls, his approval rating with Republicans, still at about 90%. Of course, those same Republicans say they are dissatisfied with the amount of information that's been released so far. So, of course, as a political play, Democrats are going to make it. But whether or not their heart is truly in it, well, let's just say I'm a little suspicious.
Well, some of that, I have to say, it could very well be, again, the weird thing about the Epstein files is that I really think there are some very legitimate reasons not to release them.
Mm-hmm. You know, they've been begging for this collapse for years, and they still don't get that Trump's base isn't built on blind loyalty. It's built on results, instincts, and the fact that he fights for regular people. I mean, it's pretty bad when even CNN's own numbers guy has to politely shatter their fantasy by pointing out that Trump's approval among Republicans is still rock solid, hovering around 90%. He even calls out how the outrage over Epstein is mostly because it might hurt Trump. It's not about justice, it's about politics. Here's Chris Matthews, of all people, admitting that Trump's strength is real and the left's obsession with packaging phoniness as leadership just doesn't work.
To be honest with you, the country is moving towards Trump. I mean, these polls that come out and show him not doing well, I don't buy that. I think his strength is still greater than the Democratic strength. He is a stronger public figure than the Democratic people. I mean, Obama still has tremendous charisma, but Trump has strength. And I think that's what all voters look for. But they want a president who is a strong figure. And he's got it. And he can, it's just there. And half the country buys it. We have never had a president so instantly spontaneous that he knows this minute, if he gets to at 4 o'clock this afternoon, he will say, you know, that's not really true anymore. He will know the mood of the country. He once, and I had to talk with him about Zoolander movie, the Ben Stiller movie. And he said, Zoolander 1, good timing. Zoolander 2, didn't work. I mean, he's instantaneous. He knew how to put down Jeb Bush, put down Barry, all these guys.
Well, his Secretary of State he put down at the time.
Yeah, that's right. He's very good at knowing your condition, your worries, your insecurities. I mean, he'd be a great bully on a grade school, Catholic high school or grade school. I mean, he'd be the scariest bully because he'd know everybody's weakness. But he's really good at the moment. I mean, he's out there watching television and keeping up. And is this the right thing to do? What am I going to do right now? Biden couldn't do that in a million years. Not in a million years. Mondale couldn't do that. They don't have the connection to the electricity of what's going on in the country culturally. And he knows what works.
You know, when Chris Matthews is the one making sense, you know it's bad for the left. The guy spits more than he speaks, but at least he's finally catching on. Trump's support isn't some media illusion. It's a reflection of real people rejecting fake leadership. I mean, the left parades around these over-polished phonies with Aaron Sorkin dialogue, but behind the scenes they're spineless, two-faced egomaniacs. Meanwhile, Trump trusts his gut, speaks plainly, and projects actual strength. That's why people are still with him. Matthews admits the polls being pushed about his crumbling support are garbage, and the country is moving toward Trump because he's authentic, not scripted. And that's what terrifies the left. They can't understand a movement that doesn't collapse over disagreement because they're too used to cancel culture and groupthink. So they keep publishing wishful obituaries for Trump's base while it keeps growing. But let me know what you think. Do you think the left will ever stop pretending they understand Trump supporters? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.